welcome all the guests on YouTube and with us on Zoom for this very wonderful webinar once again on this particular day, that is Thursday, 7th April. And today is the day when we meet our trainers from Mepsc Sector Skill Council, that is Management and Entrepreneur Professional Skill Council. And this is the day when we interact with eminent guest speakers, when we share the trainers and got to know about what they are thinking about the upcoming skills and the youth and the training process and what new to be introduced. So even as we do it usually on every Thursday, we are back with this webinar, and today I have with me the four eminent guest speakers. I will introduce them in a very short while. Before that, let's just see few slides of ICSI and then we'll move ahead. So welcome all of you once again. And today is a very important day. So the day is World Health Day, and health is the greatest gift, the greatest wealth. So preserve it consciously. And I would like to say that many of us, we just read that today is a World Health Day and we should have a good health. But just think of the persons, those who are actually suffering in the present moment, or their some relatives or their dear ones are suffering. So just pray for the wellness, for the well-being, for the good health, best of the health and happiness for everyone on this planet. And this is what the theme of this year World Health Day is. It is our planet and our health. So we should pray to Almighty that give good health, happiness and well-being to everyone. ICSI is totally dedicated towards making education relevant in one or the other manner, and it includes the entire education ecosystem, not just the education, not just the teachers, not just the youth, but each and every person, those who belongs to this particular ecosystem. And when we say the ecosystem, it even concerns with the counselors, the administrative staff, the direct and indirect supporter of education ecosystem. Together, we have to make education relevant. And this is a glimpse of ICSI web portal, which also shows that coinciding with the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav of Government of India that we are celebrating on 75th Independence Day that we will have on 15th of August 2022, we are also dedicating each of our webinar towards this initiative, making Atmanirbhar Bharat, making educative Bharat, making everyone having best of the education and best of the information and best of the knowledge system. And above that, everyone should have empathy with among each of us, and we should be happy, educated, and most better person on this earth as much as we can, preparing global educators in a very sustainable manner. Tomorrow you can, in this series, we are working to prepare global teachers and making education relevant. And tomorrow we are bringing a very eminent topic, role of educators in bringing sustainable environment practices in education with Dr. Suma Hasalkarji. And remember that whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And do send your suggestions as you are writing to us on GS Motivator. Our WhatsApp number is also given there. You can write. You can send us all the important thing, and we have completed 1,526 webinars till date, and today is our 1,520 eighth webinar. So we have completed 1527 webinar, and I want that everybody should welcome on behalf of ICSI and Mepsc our eminent guest speaker, Ms. Kamesh, Saravanan, Mr. Mathew, Lieutenant Colonel Kulkarni, Lieutenant Colonel Lamba, sir. So a very warm welcome to all our eminent guest speakers. And I would like that our guests should decide that who would like to initiate the talk. All are on mute, so a very warm welcome once again. I request, please unmute your mic. And as Lieutenant Colonel Gururaj Kulkarni sir has unmuted first. So sir, we'll start with you. Warm welcome, sir. And please introduce yourself, your organization, your work, and then about your topic.
Yeah, so let me start with a quote and we'll go along, madam, as you have said. Firstly, let me compliment that what we are undertaking today is excellent for the brain health of so many of us. So, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits, and your habits become values, and values become your destiny. Unquote. Said by Mahatma Gandhi. So, a warm namaste to the entire global audience for this excellent gathering and having me in this excellent August forum. My heartfelt gratitude to Colonel Joginder Singh Lamba for initiating me into ISTD, his prodigal son, Colonel Jangvir, who happens to be here as a co-panelist, for egging me on and galvanizing me in this direction. So, looking at the topic, certainly it is very relevant, and it is so important because of also the reason that on 2nd of April we had the Prime Minister saying that the secretaries have to understand and get the skill set moving and galvanizing throughout the country as vision of 2047. So that will be a vision, and that's why it is very good to see that. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us go to the slideshow
Yes,
which I
sir.
have prepared for this particular evening, and we'll see as to how it goes ahead. Sorry, just a technical issue. 1 second it will take to start off. Yeah. Now the heads in which I'm going to cover is importance of training and education, skills needed in future, what is the update on skilling as far as I'm concerned, and what are the future plans. So training, I quote from literature given by Planting, Cott and Efferson. Training is the continuous systematic development among all levels of employees of that knowledge and skills and attitudes which contribute to their welfare and that of the organization. Let's look at what is the prevalent environment in which we are talking of training and skilling. We have a globalized workplace. We have technological advances that have taken place. The nature of work itself is undergoing a lot of change. And last but not least, the workforce which has to come up to the standard desired of the prevalent environment. What is the role of trainer in all of this? Where does the trainer figure? The trainer will be primarily concerned with controlling, designing, implementing effective training programs. He or she can also be a consultant, an instructor, a manager, or a change agent, meaning to say that the change is very much important to be brought out in the behavior and skills of the trainees for the benefit of the organization. Let us see the education part. I quote, Education breeds confidence, confidence breeds hope, and hope breeds peace. Unquote. Confucius has said it long back, but it is prevalent even today. And I'm sure we understand the relevance of education in bringing about a peaceful world and a healthy world, like moderator has just brought out. Now let's look at the outcome of the education. I have abbreviated it as such. So knowledge, attitude, skills, habits, and values, as I brought out in my opening quote as well. I'll give my personal anecdote. At home, I imbibed all these things from my parents. Outside home, from my friends, peers, a social circle, in school, at teachers, schoolmates, all of them were very, very helpful in getting all these values inside me. And what resulted was the change in my destiny, that is selection into National Defense Academy. Now, how that helped me as a person to evolve, let's look at that. The empowerment, I see that as an empowerment with 3 years of training and education. First was, as we understand, Maslow model, that is to say the physiological, safety, social, and esteem self-actualization needs. Motivation, I relate it to intrinsic motivation. The intrinsic motivation helps me to have a drive, commitment, resilience, and readiness. With this intrinsic motivation, I can form better goals, and that better goals lead to an excellent productivity, which is helpful in the global scenario. The last but not the least comes the OODA loop, is the observe, orient, decide, and act. This loop is very important to be imbibed not only in military circles, but I'm sure it is prevalent as much in civil circles. And I am grateful for having empowered like this through the process of education and training. Now, where do we go ahead? We look at the future skills required. Now, what are the future skills as told by WHO? Are three types. One is the social skills, includes self-awareness, effective communication, interpersonal relationship, empathy, like moderator very correctly brought out, having a good brain health, bringing out empathy for everybody. Thinking skills is the second part, creative thinking, critical thinking, decision making, problem solving. These are the four C's highlighted in red. Communication, collaboration, creative thinking, and critical thinking are the four C's talked about as essential skills. But I want to add one very relevant part, that is emotional skills. It deals with coping with stress, and one more, that is coping with emotions. Now, this tool that is relevant in our personality is emotional intelligence. Now, this emotional intelligence has also been highlighted by Professor Dr. Yuval Harari as the skill which will be needed in the future for the future workforce. Now, let's look at a small clip to understand how this self uh, assessment and regulation takes place.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. Is it with the sound or it is without sound?
This is with the sound. Are you not able to hear this?
No, sir. Sir, if
Okay, not to worry. Not to worry. It doesn't make much of a difference because I'm going to tell what it entails. Not to worry.
right.
Yeah. So what I want to bring out is the facet of emotional intelligence. One is the self-awareness, meaning to say that we are aware of our own emotion and the emotions of others, and thus be able to interact with others. Second part is the self-regulation, for which you saw the video. It is of Captain Chelsea Sullenberger. He was the pilot in that aircraft. With both the engines having burnt out due to bird hit, he managed to land the aircraft on River Hudson in 2009. So much so that 150 passengers and the 5 crew members, all of them escaped unhurt. Now, that is a perfect example of sidelining your negative emotions, taking responsibility, adapting to change. Motivation is the third part, which I have already talked about, in which the goals enable us to be productive. Empathy, I've already talked about, is ability to get related to others' emotions. and then be able to correlate with others in a social circle. That will entail social skills, which is the last point of the facet of emotional intelligence. Looking at the skills, now next point would be the facets of training and the upskilling that I have been through. That involves 25 years of my service in the Indian Army in addition to 4 years of basic military training. Throughout this, I've realized that not only training myself through short courses was important, but also relevant in empowering myself, like I brought out earlier. So, to that extent, I did MSc in Weapon Systems in 2006, which was relevant then. And now I'm pursuing a regular MBA in Hospitality Management, which is relevant now and when I'm looking at the future scenario. I also want to bring out that the Army Vice Welfare Association has very good enabling skills like computer literacy and English language speaking capsules which are conducted and thus empower the ladies to take on the world. I also had 2 tenures of training the new soldiers and training the advanced officers and soldiers of the Indian Army. Thus, have had a very rich experience which can be useful in the further phase of my life, that can be the corporate life. Coming to the last part, that is the future plans for myself. I look at myself as a coach, a counselor, a motivational speaker, a instrumental person in learning and development, training development, organizational development, and being a very good public speaker like this forum has brought out today. So I am very, very grateful, and I would like to conclude my presentation with a poem. The poem goes like this: ever since my incarnation into this great nation, I have been amused by life's machinations. We went to various institutions for admissions. What mattered most? What mattered most was summations and evaluations. Amidst all this, amidst all this was comprehension. And what was the natural fallout? The normal fallout of comprehension was clearance of examinations, acquiring of qualifications, and getting a decent compensation. So, what it takes into account is one's valuation. And what is the causal factor to all of the process that I brought out in the poem? It is anybody's guess today. It is education. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Maybe request you to have you.
I'll stop sharing the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing the screen right away so that others have the.
We would like to see you. Yes, sir. We would like to see you. Thank you. You have presented well in a time frame given, and
Yes.
you have covered all your points, and we are very much glad to listen whatever you have taken up in terms of skills and other things. We would like to have few questions also, but that will be at the end of later part of the webinar. I'll straight away move to Lieutenant Colonel Jangvir Lama, sir. A very good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, ma'am.
And welcome to our platform.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I'll just share the screen.
Yes, sir. So your screen is visible to us, sir.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The world demands the qualities of youth, not a time of life, but a state of mind, a temper of the will, a quality of imagination. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has said, the more we give importance to skill development, the more competent will be our youth. Jai Hind, and a very good evening to everyone in India who has joined us for this international online seminar with Mepsc and ICSI. and warm salutations to all those who have joined us from across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Lieutenant Colonel Jangvir Lamba, a fourth generation Indian Army officer and alumnus of Indian Military Academy, and I have put in 25 and a half years of glorious military service. I have had the privilege of serving the nation and safeguarding its borders. I have served in intense CI ops in both northern and northeastern sector, had the privilege of being a leadership roles in active hostilities. With that as my background, in next 8 to 10 minutes, I'll cover my presentation on how education and skills are relevant. I'll cover the entire topic in 6 parts. Part 1, historical perspective. Part 2, industrial revolution and its impact. Part 3, some data. Part 4, Indian's skill ecosystem as on date. Part 5, the government initiatives and the role of trainers. And part 6 is what work I have done in underskilling. Part 1, the historical perspective, concepts and strengths. Types. In ancient India, education was mainly imparted through Vedic and Buddhist education system. The aim of education at that point of time was to develop a person's character, master the art of self-control, bring about social awareness, conserve and take forward ancient culture. It had 3 steps. 3 steps were hearing, reflection, and application. That is Shravana, Manana, and Nidhi Dhyasana. Shravana involved acquisition of knowledge by listening to the Shrutis. Manana involved thinking, analyzing, and making inference. And Nidhi Dhyasana was application of knowledge in real life. The concept was very simple: make people fit for the society, to train them, educate them, and develop them. The strengths the Vedic education system had: it paid the highest concentration to a child's bodily and psychic evolution. It developed students' character, gave him early experience and life's impressions, taught him humility and tolerance. Self-study or swadhyay was considered important. Now I'll talk about the Industrial Revolution and the impact it had on the self-sufficiency and the change it made to the Indian society. Though the Industrial Revolution came in 1760 in Britain, it came to India in 1850, and large-scale private industries of jute, cotton, and silk were established. To transport these goods that were being produced from one place to another, railways came to India. The fallouts were, there was quite a shift from the agrarian society. The migration from farm to cities took place. Handicraft and self-sufficiency model got affected. Change of family structure and the status. And there was quite a disparity between the capitalists and the laborers. Education of children and youth got affected. And we finally lost the skills that we used to inherit from our parents and grandparents.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but we are still on the first slide. Have you started presenting your slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but we are still on the first slide. How education and skills are relevant. No worries, sir. You can stop share and then again share screen.
If we can click from beginning on top left of the icon, maybe it will help.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
From beginning from the top left of the toolbar, it might help.
So
there is a slideshow in the bottom after the slide sorter. Yeah, slideshow is right on top.
Yeah. Then from beginning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your screen sharing is paused, it says.
Or let's say resume slideshow. Resume slideshow is there. Resume slideshow. Let's see. It should work out.
Can you see the slide now? Can you see the change in slides?
No. Let's resume the slideshow and okay.
That's the problem.
What we can do is again.
Yes, sir. Now it is.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So we are on the part 3, data from Registration General and Census Commission of India.
Yeah, I can move this right now. Wait a minute.
So even without the slideshow, we can just show the slides like that. You can move. You can go to second slide, then third, without even slideshow, sir. Yes, sir. Like this. Ji. Yes, yes. Now it is moving, sir. Sir, you are on mute. You are on mute. So your mic is on mute. Please unmute your mic. Yes, sir. Now it is good.
Okay. Okay. Part 3, data from the Registrar General and Census Commission of India. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a total population of 140 crores today. We make a yearly addition of 1%. We have a global share of 17.71%. We have global ranking as the second highest populated country. We have urban population of 34.5%. We have 65.5% semi-urban and rural area population. We have 26% people in the age group of 0 to 14. We have 67% people in the age group of 15 to 64. And we have 6.5% people over the age of 65. And we have a dependency ratio of 48.6%. Now, as they say that data always tell a very compelling story. Dependency ratio, I'll talk about it being very high. Dependency ratio is an age population ratio of those typically who are not part of the labor force. It is used to measure the pressure on the productive population. In year 2020, the average age of an Indian was 28 years and 4 months, as compared to a Chinese who was 37 and a Japanese who was 48 years of age. Now, the inference or the fallout of this is that the population parameter indicates an availability of demographic dividend in India. It started in 2005 and 2006 and will last till 2055-56. Now, what is demographic dividend? The economic growth potential based population age structure, mainly when the share of the working age population is larger than non-working age share of the population. Now, this can lead to what it can lead to. What demographic dividend can lead to is better economic growth, increased fiscal space, rise of aspirational class, that is middle class, rise in workforce, and hence a greater need of skilling youth in India.
Yeah, just clicking on that slide will do. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. Now, I'll talk about the India's education and skill development structure. We have 3 kind of institutions across the country, that is academic, technical, and vocational. This particular slide does bring in partial clarity to the crisis that we face today. Out of 100% institutions, we have 99% which are academic, we have 0.5% which are technical, and we have just 0.033% which are vocational. I must bring out here that the skill development ecosystem in India is complex, large, and diverse, and is broadly segmented into 2, that is vocational training and education. We have elementary, secondary, and higher education being taken care of by the Ministry of HRD, that is Human Resource Development. We have UGC for the colleges and universities. We have AICTE, that is All India Council of Technical Education for the technical education. And we have DGET, that is Director General of Employment and Training. As the nodal institution for vocational training at the central level, we have NSDC. We have the policy framework in place for the skill development ecosystem. We have the National Skill Policy. We have the National Skill Qualification Framework. We have NCVT, SCVT, that is National Council of Vocational Training and state councils in different states for vocational training. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with so many government bodies, governing bodies and institutions in place, there's still a jaw-dropping fact that needs to be brought out. That is, out of 100% children who are born in India, 95% children join schools. But by the time they reach the secondary or higher secondary, we have only 40% students in those classes. That means 55% students give up on education by the time they reach secondary or higher secondary. Now, there are these two slides which show the incremental human resource requirement, which of 2013 and then of 2022. These figures throw a challenge at us. Now, what are these challenges? There is a need to improve the literacy rate. The literacy rate in India, the skilled workforce is less than 5% as on date. The poor literacy also impedes skilling. We have inadequate training capacities. We lack infrastructure. We have awareness, mindset, and perception issues. We have quality concerns. We have mobility concerns because of digital divide. These are various government initiatives that have been taken up by the present government, and they are latest in the Indian education sector. PM E-Vidya, which is part of the Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, was started in May 20, and all states were given access to e-content through the Diksha portal. It is basically for training and courses to be provided to teachers. Then we have Swam Prabha. It's a channel purely for education to be provided to the people who do not have internet connectivity as on date across India. We have remedial instructions for primary school children with specific difficulties. This is again a TV channel which provides education to people who have to children who have dyslexia. Then we have Swam massive open online courses. There are 92 massive open online courses for class 9 to 12th open school students. Then we have Manodarpan, which provides a psychological support to the students, parents, and teachers. We have National Repository of Open Education Resource, which has created a e-content of 17,500 pages, and it is available on the net. We have Nishta, which is basically for training and improving the quality education at schools and training of teachers. Now, coming to the role of trainers, it doesn't change and doesn't require amplification, but certainly requires 100% dedication, commitment, constancy, and a very strong resolve to contribute wholeheartedly by trainers to develop a competency, skill set in individuals so that they can perform efficiently in their work environment. Coming to the last slide, that is work done under skilling, future plan, and training of trainers course. Ladies and gentlemen, in the army, we train to fight, we train to a set standard, we train to sustain, and we train to maintain. I have been a training officer, and I've also trained various instructional appointments. We train officers and men to develop sound character, robust mind, physically able body, and to have a great spirit. And we skill them up with the best fighting skills. In the Indian Army, we also learn to perform under pressure. Perform under pressure. Well, why under pressure? Because war is never easy, and you never know where it might take you. With that kind of training philosophy, most of the times you surprise yourself with your own ability. As they say, when we long for easy life, we must remember that the oak trees have always grown strong in contrary winds. I leave this at this. And coming to the future plan, ladies and gentlemen, my father, Colonel Joginder Singh Lamba, is a master trainer. He is my hero and a guiding light to very many. He runs an institution called Parivartan. And while I'm in service now, I cannot run a venture, but I certainly have a plan to have an institution wherein we can impart both the academics and vocational training together. Vocational training to start at class 4th onwards. And by the end, a student graduates from class 12th. He has 2 certifications, one from the Central Board of Secondary Education and one from any affiliated central vocational training institute. So at the end of it, we leave a child educated and well skilled up. A word about the training of trainers course. It was a good refresher, a lot of learning involved. We learned more. we will train ourselves and others better. Ladies and gentlemen, I have finished my presentation here. At the end, I thank everyone for bearing with me. Thanks to Mepsc and ICSI. Thanks to the amazing panel, and thanks and reverence and regards to the moderator. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir. If you can just stop share. So thank you for your detailed presentation, sir. I would also like to add one thing, that is, you talked about NCVT. So there is now NCVET also, that is National Council for Vocational Education and Training. And Dr. N.S. Kalsiji, IAS officer, he is the chairman for this particular wing, and all the sector skill councils are under it. So you have presented in a very detailed, in a very summarized manner, everything, sir. I want to salute both the Lieutenant Colonel, sir. Being from the Indian Army, they are also very keen towards education and skills, and we are fortunate. Our India is fortunate, and when we have such good trainers with us, those who are very good working on the ground as well, our education, our country is in the safe hands. So thank you, sir, and salute to both of you.
Our privilege also. Our privilege also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Moving from the armed forces, we now go to the civilian part, but obviously the trainers one. I would like to now introduce and bring forward Mr. Sherry T. Mathew, sir, who is the director, and I would like you should introduce yourself, sir, and all the platform is yours. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you very much for setting this up so beautifully with the two earlier speakers, Lieutenant Colonel Gururaj and Janvir. You have set the tone for what the history of the education sector is, what India demographics are around it, and a lot of data that really supports what we need to do in the future. So I am really excited to see all this happening out here on the live show. To introduce myself, I come from an HR professional background, worked with the industry for about 23 years. I left my last assignment was as a talent strategy head for an American company taking care of Asia, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey as a talent strategy head for this business. Prior to that, I worked with companies like Bayer, IPCA, and a few other engineering companies in India. For the last 8 years, I have moved into consulting and primarily worked with most of the sectors, from education, the service sectors, IT, manufacturing, pharma, etc. It was quite when Amanjit reached out to me and said, "Can you share some of your work that you have done in the education sector?" There are a few things which really excited me over the time in terms of, and I would like to share as more like a case study in terms of what has happened and the work I have done. Now, but one thing to start off with, I just recently concluded reading a book, more for not from a cover to cover, but the synopsis of it, The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. Very interesting book if someone would like to see how this person has said that there is, for economic growth and being a superpower, which India aspires to be over a period of time, two things that are critical is the education and health of the people in the country. And today we are talking about both of this topic because we started off Chitra by saying today is more of a health day, and we're talking about education. So it's an amazing setup that this individual has given through the book, saying that if we want to sustain ourselves, and if India is definitely aiming to be one of the best globally in terms of the powerful economies of the world, and education stands to be one of the key drivers. The other thing that brought me to this entire concept of working in the education sector is that when I looked at the data, what about engineering students that pass out of from Indian colleges? 15 lakhs or 1.5 million students pass out of engineering colleges every year in India. And probably the numbers are also rising. I'm talking about years back. Only 7% of the population of the engineers get acquired by the core sector of engineering. Now, where do the rest of them go? And what are they all doing? They're completely doing different than what skills they acquired through their learning process. So there is a big mismatch between what is the vocation that the person, because if you look at today's education, our parents drive the children basically because of 2 or 3 reasons. One, what is the score that the child has got in 10th standard or 12th standard? That becomes one of the determinant in terms of selecting a particular vocation. Second determinant is that what is in vogue, what is happening right now. And let me look at sending my child for that, whether it is engineering or medicine or any other area. Or we would say today it is the flavor of IT. So everyone is moving towards IT as a vocation. So do we have a proper mechanism in the way in terms of identifying the vocation that a person is good for? What I believe as an HR professional of, I'm now working with students and in the with education sector is that everyone is good for something, but not for everything. So if that is the case, then what is that the person is good for is one of the most important criteria which education sector within even teachers have. In the past, when I was in school or when my parents were in school, the teachers used to identify the potential, have conversation with the parents and direct the child towards taking a vocation that the person has been good or has shown the potential. Today, the education sector is more in terms of a manufacturing hub, which churns out a lot of children from the school and then going into certain colleges which he or she may decide in terms of how to go about. That was one aspect of the place in which we started working and doing work with the students both from at the school level and also at the management college level. So if you look at international colleges or curriculum, every student who takes up a particular specialization, whether it is sales, marketing, HR, operations, whatever, they also simultaneously work on building the competencies or behavioral competencies that are required to be successful at the job. Today, if you go to any organization, they say that the students that we go and hire from the schools or colleges are not ready now. They cannot be ready now if they are not taught along with the curriculum certain skills to actually be ready for the job. For example, when we talk about internships, today we have working with some of the colleges, we have made it very mandatory that internship is the key to making a person build the skills, whether it is in HR, whether it is in sales and marketing, whether it is in operation. The person has to go rigorously through those internship along with the course curriculum to build that particular skill. So we are missing out one key element today in the education sector is that we are teaching children the theory but not the practical application, and then we leave it to them whether they want to really pick it up or not. The other changing factor is how the teachers or the educators' competency are being constantly changing. They are with the new generation, with the new teaching methodology, with the new students coming into the and the parents' pressure in terms of how to handle the students and the teachers. There is a constant need for teachers or educators' skill development. Yes, there are a lot of hard skills that are taught to teachers in terms of how to teach them, the teaching aid, the use of teaching aid, all of that is there. But while we did work with certain schools, one of the heads of the school said that I want my principals to be evaluated as a CEO. So look at and evaluate the principles of they actually have about 23 schools across India. Now, when they were looking at that, as they said that I want you to evaluate my principals as CEO, because they have to run an organization profitably as well as provide all those, vision, implementation, training, people development, all of that like a CEO in a school or a college. That was one aspect that is changing. The second is that when we did research in terms of working with teachers, we found that there are a few primary competencies that have emerged today as the skills that are required. One, from teaching to coaching effectiveness. Teachers, we talk about coaching, building coaching effectiveness in the industries to managers. But what is being seen today is that teaching is now more like a coaching. They have to really support students in terms of and encourage students to learn rather than provide a lot of material for studies. So coaching effectiveness is one of the primary competencies. Second is planning and scheduling things, adaptability, expressiveness, positive outlook, and providing a safe environment to the student. So these competencies become very important and critical in today's time, that what we are seeing from based on the work we have done and done assessment in terms of which are the teachers which are successful and which are the teachers which have been, when we are talking of successful, is in terms of getting to help students and manage the parents effectively in terms of both of these applications, and administratively manage their job more effectively. When we look at those aspects, these are some of the competencies. There are also certain contributing competencies that came out that supports the primary competencies, like time management, process orientation, collaboration, dependability, and stress tolerance. So these are some of the additional contributing competencies that are really making the teachers more effective at their school level or college level that we have been seeing, in addition to all the hard skills required to actually teach students the subject matter or making them effective, learn the aspect. The another very important element that we are seeing that every child has a learning agility or learning ability, the way the child learns. Today's scenario is that it is not one-way conversation in terms of education. Students learn by reading, they learn by hearing, they learn by talking. So this pedagogy is changing in the school environment. So can teachers really adapt to those changing environment and the skill required to really manage the learning outcome with the student? So these are some of the elements that we have seen working with students and working with teachers. But one process that we really work is to ensure success in terms of driving these competency or ability or skilling of these individuals is by purely assessing the key. There are critical competencies to be successful in every job. So assess them based on a very neutral setting. Second aspect is that development initiative where the trainers come into play. And then the trainers need to give value add to the entire process is by following up with mentoring or coaching in terms of reinforcing those skills that are required to be successful. So when we look at, I did hear Lieutenant Colonel Gururaj saying about Mahatma Gandhi. How did he say that, your words determine your thoughts determine your words, your actions, and your actions, your habits, and habits, from a psychology point of view, I would say after, habits, it becomes your behavior, then you have certain character and values, and then that becomes your personality. So this is the value chain in terms of the entire process from a side. So if we can change habits, which is more easy to change, we can change behaviors. And if we can change behaviors, which is a set of behaviors is competency, then we can really skill the person towards those competencies. We should, if we, many a time when we talk about skilling, we move towards the more hard skills or the blue-collar skills, but we may forget that equally important is some of the soft skills that makes a person successful in terms of doing the job. So I will leave it with this, one last statement of Nelson Mandela: education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So if we impart or help the educators build their capacity, imagine what a world we will be in going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And it is really a pleasure to the ears to listen you have told about teachers' empowerment and skilling. So now I'm also seeing that Madam Kamesh ji is very religiously and very patiently hearing everyone. And I want to now tell her that please unmute your mic, ma'am. And now we want to listen to you. Welcome to our platform and a very good evening.
Thank you, Chitra. Thanks a lot. And sorry for the last time because some connectivity issues was there.
No, ma'am, there is always a next time.
Thank you so much for this next time opportunity for me. Thanks a lot.
It's an opportunity for us to hear you, ma'am.
Okay. So hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome all the guests. And thank you, Mepsc and ICSI, to give us this opportunity to talk about the whatever little bit of knowledge we have to share with each other and to share this through this session to the world. Whatever we have, we can share it and we can learn from each other that whatever we got. And we can applicable this in our life in future. So as today's topic said, ki importance of trainer and skill, excuse me, to a skill ecosystem. So as far as I'm a master trainer and I'm into this for past 3 years. Before that, I was in an aviation industry. So I worked there for 18 years. I have a good experience to tackle different people in a day, more than 1,000 in a day, because I'm in my work area is that where I need to check the passports and visas of the people who are traveling outside the India. So yeah, for different country, there are different rules, there are different norms. We have to contact with immigrations, custom, everybody. So in aviation, I learned a lot. And as I was the team leader, so I trained, I think, more than, because it's a very limited team we can train. We cannot train everybody in this form. So I was able to train more about 50 people. But yes, those 50 people, I can say, they in aviation industry, they are the one who people knows them. They are the one who did this job very nicely. So I'm proud of that. But over and above that, the thing is, as a trainer, it's not only a trainee who has to learn. It's a trainer also. Like we have to we should have that acceptance ki every day is learning for us also. It's not only for the trainee who is going to come and polish their skills and they can start their earning sources or whatever they are here for learning. But it is as a trainer in each and every class, we also learned a lot from single trainee. That is one of the important part of the trainer. The trainer should that acceptance power should be there, that it's not like he is a trainee, he cannot teach us. Anybody in this world, every day is a lesson for us. So now for past 3 years, I'm with this Skill India, and I have conducted so many TOTs and TOAs and different with different training partners. So it was a good experience over and all. But yes, as sir said, as Mathew sir said, every parents want that children should be in engineering and they should be in a medical field. Either they should be they are running whatever is in a trend today. But basically, this skill ecosystem needs to be improved, I think, from the very grass level. As I said, it has to be start from the school. As although very state governments have started their skill programs in schools as well, but it is at a very small level. This level has to be increased. And over and above that, we really need to educate parents. That parents doesn't know what are the benefits, how the children will do something different if he will not take PCM or PCB, how the children will learn from the different subjects which are provided through this new education policy. I think in every school it should be at the large scale, and over and above it has to, like, it's not only the students, it's not only the skill industry. I think the parents also need to educate about these things, these policies, these new policies, or this skill ecosystem to so that they can, like, because either it is a teacher or a parent who can tell their children and who can make them educate about the things, because we are the one. So as I said, it is very important that I'm a mother, so I can understand this, because as sir said, I think Jangvir Lamba sir said ki dyslexia. He was talking about dyslexia. My daughter was having a dyslexia, and I'm very, very thankful to Dr. Manoj. He is head of women's in Moolchand in Delhi. So earlier, the first thing which I came to in my mind is that my daughter is having some psychological issues. But then he educated me, it is not a psychological issue. It is not your child is not intelligent. She's intelligent as other students, but she was having some issues in her writing skills. So we'll conduct a sessions every week, and we will improve her writing skills, and she will be as normal as other children's. And I did those sessions for 2 years in Moolchand, and I'm thankful to him and to their educators, those who actually improve my daughter's writing skills, and she is absolutely normal. They have given me a full 5 or 10 pages report of IQ level test of my daughter, which I can submit it to CBSE, or I can take any grant, but I don't need it because they sort the issues very nicely. So as I said, parents are initially we don't have that proper knowledge, we don't have that proper guidance, so we are not able to give that to our children, we are not able to give that to our students. So as I told earlier, we really, if we want to improve our skill system, and if we want to see this trainers and this whole ecosystem to be work in a way it has to be. So as I said, I really need to, I think that it has to be started from the school, and the education is required for the students also. And as I said, trainer every day is a new day, and they have to learn. Now, there are certain skills of the trainers also, which we really need to understand. First, as I said, we have to have that adaptive skills. We should have that adaptation power in ourselves. If somebody is telling us something that may help me in my future, that may help me to improve my training skills, that may help me to teach me others in a better way. So that adaptive nature of the trainer is very much important to improve their day-to-day sessions. Then enthusiasm, that is very important. Why? Because every day, if we'll I do agree, like if I'm a teacher, supposing I'm not, but I'm just if I'm a teacher and every day I'll go, I'm supposing I'm a history teacher, every day I'll go, I'll teach the same lesson every year, I'm preparing that. So if I'll get bored with it, I don't have that energy in me, the trainees will not enjoy that session, they will not learn it. A trainer, when I was in aviation, one of my trainers said कि ट्रेनिंग का जो सेकंड पार्ट होता है पोस्ट लंच, आप उसमें कितनी एनर्जी ट्रेनीज की मतलब उसको बरकरार रख पाते हो, वो ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, क्योंकि आफ्टर पोस्ट लंच ज्यादातर ट्रेनीज क्लास में सोते हुए मिलते हैं. तो योर सेशन शुड नॉट बी बोर, it should be always energetic. So in the students or the trainees will will always matlab, keen to learn, and they want to like come to your class or attend the sessions, and they have the questions with you. Your session should be always a two-way session, because if it is I'm talking and somebody is listening, that will not help. If my trainee is having a questions and I'll able to solve them, I'll able to like answer their questions, then only it will be I can say ki it will be a knowledgeful session for the trainees. That is one thing. And as I said, research skills, because every day now we can see on social media something is coming. Nowadays we have so many things, and matlab, we can update ourselves. We should always research and learn. That is also a part of a good trainer. We should have a good communication skills, not only in English. Matlab, as a trainer, I can say ki I'm into a area somewhere in near to Ranchi. So people there are not able to understand a Hindi properly. So the communication is always so we should have a communication skills locally also, so that we can understand their queries, we can help them, and we can solve their queries. So that communication skill, it's not about the language, whatever language we are using, but that communication skills should be very good as a trainer, because if I'm not able to convey my message properly to my trainees, that will not help them. That is one. And then organizational skills, yes, whatever skills I'm going to like teach them. Supposing I'm in aviation, so I'm teaching them something which is related to aviation, so I should know all the basic details, or I should be a master in those details. Then only I can able to teach them. If I don't have a knowledge, I'm standing in a class and I will not able to attend convey my message to them, and I'm just reading slides, that's not going to help them. So a trainer should be a master in their subjects. They should be then your as these are very I'll not add on these things, because we all know, and people like Colonel Jangvir, Lamba, Gururaj, Kulkarni ji, and Mathew ji, I think you guys are like I can say the masters of your field. So I'm nothing in front of you. I'm just a small master trainer, and I'm really thankful to this platform. I'm able to listen from your end, and I'm able, I'll definitely going to take this into my day-to-day life, and I'll implement these points, and I'll definitely going to do that. Thank you so much once again, Chitra, Mepsc, and ICSI, and all the team members today in our session. I'm going to close it here, and I think I'll not bore you guys. So
No, no.
Thank you so much.
No, ma'am, you haven't bored us. In fact, you have presented all your points in a very precise manner, and you have stressed on some very important points. Like you have told about the education, the beginning of the education should start with parents. Parents are the fundamental of all the education system, in fact. And even you have talked about research part, that is also very important. So you have not bored us. In fact, you have given very good inputs to us. So I'll now coming on to the second round of this eminent panel conversation is the question answer round. Few questions I would like to ask you and get answers from you for our audience. These questions are being raised by the audience, so we need some explanation, some detailing onto that. I will be starting it from Kamesh ma'am itself. Many students have joined us on YouTube Live, and among them, many of them are from hospitality and tourism background, as you have told that you are from aviation.
Yes.
So when we talk about particularly hospitality and tourism field, and when we talk about the youth, those who are aspiring to be into this field, what will you suggest, because they are listening, what skills should have with them to be self-sufficient in this field? Because we have seen COVID, and we have seen pandemic, and lockdowns and this field have highly affected by this. So there is some kind of a demotivation among students like that. So what you want to tell them? What message you want to convey to them?
Chitra, as I said, pandemic is a bad phase for everybody in this world. It's not a students, it's not a teacher, it's not a parent, it's not a children. It's for everybody. But there are so many people who lost their jobs. The business was shut down. The salaries were cut down. So yes, it was a bad phase for government, for public, for everybody. I do agree, and people are very demotivated with this pandemic. But we should always understand कि see when the as it's saying कि अगर बुरा वक्त नहीं रहेगा, अच्छा वक्त नहीं रहा तो बुरा भी नहीं रहेगा. So it is always like कि we should learn from this and we should move on, and we should move on towards a better life now. And for the hospitality student, as I said, कि if you want to work, like hospitality industry, especially in aviation sector, it is very glamorous. People think that air hostess, captains, this and that it is always there, especially in young generation. I would say ki if you want to be in a hospitality industry, you can. It is a very, very big industry. You can survive it. You can go up to any extent. That's not it's a very big industry. But yes, to be in a hospitality industry, one should be very polite. One should have that acceptance power. The hospitality industry is the industry where everyone can come and shout at you. They can say anything. If they buy a ticket, if they book a hotel, if you are standing on a reception or if you are standing on the counters, they will come, whatever questions they have, whether you are relevant to that or not. But you should always have that patience, and you should always have that positive attitude, so that you can make them understand that I'm not the person, guide them towards the right place. See, the patience is very important thing, and I think not in hospitality, it is everywhere, it is very important. That's the one thing which I took.
Yes, ma'am, and I think that particular thing is actually missing in today's youth.
Correct.
Colonel Kulkarni sir, Lieutenant Colonel Kulkarni sir wants to say something. Yes, sir.
The reason why I also want to add on some credible inputs to this is because I'm studying MBA hospitality, and I just happened to write the examinations last time when I was contacted by Aman madam for this webinar, and I had to turn her down just because I was involved in the examination. So I remembered the answer that I wrote to this particular question asked by the students. So let me tell you, add on to whatever Kamesh madam has correctly brought out, that it is a service industry. So in a service industry, as is common sense, you got to have the emotional connect with the clients. And what I brought out in my presentational, emotional intelligence will be paramount to understand the other person's emotions and then to act accordingly, to collaborate with others. And that will be the key to success of a person in hospitality industry. Because I have undergone such situations in five-star hotels, and I saw the amount of empathy people have and the efficiency they have in two things: first, teamwork, and second, problem solving. Both these things were excellent, in addition to the communication skills they had in communicating with all types of clients which come to a hospitality kind of a sector. So that's all I wanted to add. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Kamesh ma'am. Thank you for your answer. And I think that students have got the answers to their query. Now, my next question is to Mr. Mathew. Sir, you have praised us with the skills that a trainer, a teacher should have. Now, I would like to ask you, because somebody has mentioned there that being from the HR background and being from the trainer's background, what do you think that today's youth, the key skills while they are going for an interview, any kind of an interview, or even when they are meeting any people or any higher official for the first time, what particular future skills a student should work on so that he or she can clear the interview or can get a sound job in any of the field? The future skills I would like to ask for students, for youth.
Okay, I think today's youth is much more intelligent, sharper, and well aware, well read than what we were in the past. So if I have to talk about what will make them get a particular job or a role, is that one thing, self-awareness. Many a time we miss out in terms of who am I? What is my strengths? Am I floating or am I going after, and does my interest and my capability match with each other? So no job is really good or bad. It is, you have to look at, if this is, every person has an innate strength. Go by that particular strength, you will be successful. Mid-career crisis happen because you have not chosen what suits your personality, and what time, how much time you have invested in terms of building capability around being successful in those in that location. So self-awareness is very important. Second is that I would say to everyone, manage your style to the situation, because I'm coming from an HR background. I will tell you is that many a times people say, this is what I am. You have to deal with me the way I am. That is fine. But at some point of time, you need to be so self-aware of the environment that you need to manage that particular style to the situation. So that is another very important element that we need to have. If these two things are done, so the third element is what I would add more, is that being genuine. Okay, many a times we prepare for the interview to give as much as the interviewer is being trained on how to give an interview. Even students get trained on how to give an interview, but that should be in sync with your own capability and the interest. So you will have to be very genuine in terms of responding to questions that are being asked. Being self-aware, this is what I can do. Write down examples of when you have actually been able to deliver on those strengths, and when what you have, you are not able to do. So show a willing attitude to learn. These are some of the very important things an interviewer or an organization look for in students or new professionals. Genuinity, self-awareness, and in terms of your ability, when I'm saying ability to manage a style to the situation, it's more of talking about emotional intelligence.
Thank you, sir. But even we have seen nowadays students get job easily because they are very smart, they are very good in communication and everything. But the retention rate is very less.
That's
so
right.
Why is this? So is the youth lacking focus? They are not focused towards what they are doing.
One of the element is that they have to when they don't make the right choices in terms of their vocation that they want to, so they want to try it out. Okay, I will take. I generally, when you look at placement, they go for brand. They go for whatever jobs that that brand brings in, not really looking at in terms of what I would like to do. So there is a mismatch or misalignment between the capability and what you aspire. So obviously, when you start in a profession which is not aligned to your style or your orientation, then you will tend to get bored. That is one element that we are seeing. The newer generation also gets is so much action oriented that they want to move from one things to the other. So for any successful, so even if you look at when we teach students, we give an analogy of, if you are going to invest in shares, you have to be there with it for a longer period of time to really see the benefit of it growing. So if you have to grow in a particular profession or a career, you have to invest your time and then develop skills based on what that particular job requires. And when you spend that time, you will find success. You won't be. We have seen rolling stones. Being in HR, we have seen that people come, join, leave, come, join, leave. They hit a roadblock after some time, and that is where they have not been able to work on building the skills for the job, but move because of salaries or the cultural mismatch.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. You have given a thinking cap to all the students and the youth and the teachers, those who are watching our program. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We would like to hear from you also.
I can't stop myself from adding on to certain ideas because I keep
No,
getting
no,
these
sir.
brain waves. So
That's the beauty of panel discussion, sir. Please
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
like it. I like it. I like it. The fact that I'm having a good brain health today on this health day, I'm very glad to acknowledge that. Okay, so I wanted to tell about attention deficit. Yes, since you talked about the new generation today, they have everything, and yet why are they not getting retained? See, the amount of Internet of Things and the fast-paced life, I think, has led to an attention deficit compared to my times of Gen Z and Gen X and Gen Y when these things were not there. So one could focus for a longer period of time. With that as the problem, I would just like to suggest a solution in case it is palatable. They can get into some kind of a meditation, some kind of a thoughtful process of long deliberation as a habit, which will help them to retain knowledge and have some patience. As Mr. Sherry brought out, patience is the key, and they have to stick on for a longer period of time. So, these daily habits, I think, will help a lot by reducing the exposure to social media or limiting it to a certain extent, and then having these kinds of habits so that it helps them to have a longer engagement period with anything and everything in life. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And now the questions move to both the Lieutenant Colonel, sir. Though questions are a lot many, but seeing the time frame, I have chosen two questions to ask both of you. So I'll throw the questions to both of you, and you can answer one by one to them. One very interesting question has come, sir, that the army people are very passionate towards their work and towards whatever they are doing, their role. So why this kind of passion is not being seen in the teachers? Why this profession lack that passion? So
Yeah, Colonel Janvir, would you like to take it on?
Certainly,
Because I know
certainly.
you as a more passionate person, as a more passionate soldier. I know him as a very much passionate soldier compared to me. That's why I've thrown the ball in his court.
Certainly, Gururaj, thank you so much. Ma'am, the reason I think is from day one. Uh, any army soldier, whether an officer or a man in ranks, when he leaves his home in the morning, there's only one thing in mind, that is the duty that he's going to perform. He never thinks about how much money he's going to make today. That is what exactly happens outside. I mean, you see a person, working anywhere or having a shop of his own or a business of his own. They go out of home every day with some kind of profit that they'll make. Though this is not true for the teachers or the teaching staff. We have certain schools in South India where teachers are not being paid. It's a volunteer thing. Teachers have come forward, and they are one of the best schools. In fact, there's one in Kochi. So I think it's all about how strong do you feel, how what value system you carry, and how do you want to contribute towards the work that you're doing. And army, from the day one inception, that is training itself, we are given training in a manner that we don't think beyond the national boundaries. We talk about national boundaries, safeguarding the national boundaries, the love we have for our citizens or the brothers in civil life. And beyond that, we don't think about money, we don't think about remuneration. And it's all about passion, it's all about the love for the uniform, it's all about love, loyalty, and for the country. So that is the mindset that we have, and that is the value system we have, and similar kind of work ethics we have within the organization. And that's how probably we stand strong, and with greater belief in self, in our colleagues, in our seniors, and the organization.
yes, sir. And teachers have to think beyond boundaries. They have to become a global teachers, I think.
Ma'am, there are, I know of teachers. In fact, my wife is an educationist. She teaches in a school, and I feel very happy when the students from previous schools call up, their parents call up, and the kind of expression she has beyond what she teaches, the emotional connect that she has with the students, and the faith and belief system among students, teachers, and the parents and teachers. And so there are teachers like that. There are very amazing teachers, and in fact, the we all stand strong as a society today. It's I am here and supporting my family. It's because of the teachers, amazing teachers who taught us, who made us able, so that we can earn our respectable bread today. And we carry a value system, which again comes from our teachers. They do amazing job, undoubtedly an amazing job.
So it depends from person to person. And before I'll come on to Lieutenant Colonel Kulkarni, sir, Mr. Mathew wants to add something into this.
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting area. So when we do talk about a lot of passion as an element, when we as trainers talk to our participants. Now, can we define passion? I do not know whether we can really define passion, but what I've seen is that three things that work towards driving that passion. One, and it has to be a synchronized work, that is competency, what drives you, and what is your goal, or what you want to do in life. So if one of the three is missing, you will not achieve success. And success is driven, the passion also comes when you see success. Now, when you don't see success, that might remain as a hobby. But if you really want to make it really work towards, and you want to continue to do what you're doing, you need to see success. And for teachers, the success is in terms of how the students perform over a period of time, how they grow up to become better individuals, or better better professionals. So when they see that, they also drive the motivate, they are self-motivated to continue with that particular work. So probably passion comes from all of this together, is that, do I have the skills to do it? Am I driven to do it? What drives me or what motivates me? And is this what I want to do? So if probably all this put together is somewhere, this passion keeps the fire on, within the individual, that fire or the passion keeps going and continues to do better and better and better every time, even when for an educator.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Lieutenant Colonel Kulkarni, sir. So would you like to add something into this question, or should I put another question towards you?
I have always lots of things to add on to everything in life, and this question is no exception. So, in addition to whatever Janvir has excellently brought out with his experience of his own and that of Mrs. Lamba, superbly done, and of course, Mr. Sherry has said, what I would add on is two things. One is the pride, because that also stands out in a soldier's credo. The amount of pride that one carries is immense. So teachers to have that pride, or trainers or coaches to have that pride, what would that involve? I'm sure there are better experienced people to elaborate on that, because personally in corporate training, I am not as experienced as them. But one factor is certainly the pride. And secondly, I would say is the remuneration. Whether the compensation is enough to to strive for that profession. No, it is apart from the passion, what Mr. Sherry brought out. Passion, yes, but there are material things also which are looked forward to. And this is one of the second thing also which might contribute to that. I know of countries like Japan and other European nations where they pay teachers the highest. And you can see the condition in our country. And like Mr. Sherry brought out in his talk, we are looking at only engineering, only PCM, PCB. How many people are aspiring to be teachers? How many young people are aspiring to be teachers today? The answer is in front of all of us. Why? Because of the compensation part. Because ultimately everybody is practical, right? What kind of lifestyle one wants to live. So I think it is connected to that as well. That's all.
Right, so there are both financial and non-financial part to it. Now, the last but not the least question for this particular webinar has been asked by a person in the viewers, that if you can just guide few things on mental robustness when we talk about, because today is health day also, and when we're talking about trainers, teachers, educators, and youth, so something on mental robustness, if any,
Excellent.
from Lieutenant Colonel Kulkarni sir and Lieutenant Colonel Lamba sir, and from Mathew sir, and from Madam Kamesh. Anything.
Since you took my name first, so let me start with it. And of course, there are more experienced people to add on to that. When you talk of mental robustness, it's certainly a very good question to have been asked, because today that is certainly the need of the hour. If I have to if I have to be mentally robust and put myself in the shoes of a youngster today who has to carry on in the 21st century, better part of 21st century, the skills that come to my mind are the value system. The first part of presentations, and we all talked about it. The value system of us in India, especially, and the joint family system, of course, has now come down. But still, the amount of values that you imbibe as children today, I think the childhood situation is totally different from the Gen X and Gen Y, when there was a different type of childhood. So the mental robustness starts from there and then keeps on building with various activities that one undertakes, of be it disciplined outdoor sports activities. I'm sure Colonel Lamba can bring out more. I know him as an excellent sports person. That's why I'm taking this liberty of saying this. Apart from that, there are so many other life situations in which one has to be just persistent. Persistent and perseverance are the two things which just has to carry on. Like Mr. Sherry brought out, you go to any job, you got to have that mindset, okay, I'm going to carry on for some time. I'm going to give it some time, be it any relationship, personal or professional. If a person is having the mindset to bring it on for a longer period of time, to have a longer engagement than usual, it will certainly benefit a long way, because patience always pays. There are enough quotes on that. And also, one learns in the process, okay, since I've stayed on for so long, what all are the benefits or the things that I've learned? And then one can always carry on. But the initial part certainly has to be the mindset of having a long engagement after one decides which direction to take. I hope I have satisfied, and others can also elaborate.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Lieutenant Colonel Lamba, sir.
Ma'am, I'd like to share something
Yes.
that is, Colonel Gururaj Kulkarni is also my coach. He's coaching me for an event where I've been training very hard, and he's most of the time in field with me, and so we are training for an event. I'll not talk about it now, but that certainly involves great mental robustness. Why? Because it has something like 4 odd kilometers of swimming, it has 180 kilometers cycling, it has complete marathon, 42 kilometers, and it's one after another. It's a non-stop event, and so how does this happen? How does this happen? It happens purely because of two reasons. One is when we talk about mental robustness, it is always comparative. One may say that somebody he's mentally very robust, but when we say comparative, why? Because it's generally the psychological edge that you have over others, because of the ability that you've drawn out of sheer hard work, perseverance, pursuance, and non-stop training for any sporting event, or for any military exercise or training for that matter. And in the army, we create conditions, training conditions. We have sports so organized that the soldiers, the officers, they over a period of time develop conviction that one has in oneself that leads to mental robustness, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Madam Kamesh, if you can hear from you something onto it.
Yeah, as I earlier said, and I think Sherry sir also said, one is investment of the time and other is the patience, which is the key. And I think this is the most important thing from my end.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mathew, sir.
Okay, I think most of the key important points have all been covered, so there is nothing left for me to add. But I will just make one point is that mental agility or mental toughness also comes along with your physical aspect, the flexibility is an important element. Many a times we hold on to things which we feel is right, or this is how I have learned things to do. But the newer generation comes with newer challenges. The ability to be flexible and make adaptation is the key to mental happiness or mental, making peace with yourself. Not saying that adaptability to the extent that you change your own, value system or your character, but the fact that there is change happening, and I also need to look at making the subtle changes that are required to adapt to the situation. So if that is there, that mental state becomes more it is easier to accept and easier to really manage ourselves and reduce the stress that will get built up in our system. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Lieutenant Colonel Lamba sir wants to say.
Ma'am, I just want to add one little point here that when you train under pressure, your ability comes to test and it comes to play. And most of the time, you beat back and you win. And every time that you beat back and win, there's a rise in the standard of mental robustness that you possess.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So with this, I would like to thank all my eminent guest panelists for today evening. And this is a very important day for me also. I have learned one key point from all of the speakers, that to be mentally robust, to be healthy, to be active, you need to have a kind of a patience, you need to have a kind of a perseverance, you need to have a kind of an happiness in you. Only then, whatever you are doing, you can put your 100% into that. With that, I would once again want to thank everyone for coming here, to our viewers, to our guest also, and a very good evening, sir. Thank you.
Thanks to the ICSI. Thanks to ICSI for 1528. The number is very good, and especially having this today on a health day. Superb.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.